Greetings, coders. In this video, we are going to jump from writing to standard output to reading in from standard input. One of the first methods that we can use to read from standard input is getchar. Getchar returns a single character, and it's read in from standard input, which is usually the keyboard. Using it in your code would look something like this. You create a variable called cvar, and it equals getchar, and after getchar runs, cvar will have whatever value was entered in by the user. Unfortunately, this does not work. Getchar does not terminate when a single character is entered. It also has to be followed by an enter key. Scanf is a versatile tool for reading in from standard input. It takes the input and stores it in a variable based on, we're seeing again, a format specifier. So you have your format specifier and then a list of variables that correlate to the specifier. It also returns a value that tells you the number of values that was read in. The variable list parameters, these values in the variable list must be an address, which means we have to use the address of in front of them, which is an ampersand. This is not the case when we have string values that we're reading into. But for integers, char, float, for our primitive data types, we have to use an ampersand in front of them if they're not a pointer. So here's an example of using scanf to read in. If you remember what %d is from the last video, it's an integer. So it's expecting an integer value, and it's going to load it into ivar. So if we're using scanf with a %d here, and the user enters 56a/n, it will read in the integer, scanf reads it in and converts 56 to an integer. As soon as it encounters a non-numeric character, it stops the scan. So as soon as it reaches the A, it's done scanning it. Won't read in anything after that. As I mentioned earlier, we have a format specifier with the scanf, so we can read in multiple values at once, or using a single scanf by separating them by a space. So this will read in 5 variable values. And then the return value from scanf will be the number of these values that it successfully read in. So you can check in the code to make sure that the ret val equals 5. So if the input is 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, the ret val will be 5, and ivar 1 will be 5, 2, and so on. So what do you think will happen if the input is 5 space 10a? Ret val will be 2, and ivar 1 will equal 5, ivar 2 will equal 10, ivar 3, though, will not have, or have some unknown value. And none of the others will have values based on that input. And that's it for this video.